International. Back up on your screen. AFNI International back on your screen. The best all sports conglomerate you've ever seen. Start spreading the word. All you dirty birds, cause we ain't stopping. Haven't you heard? With a thrill, yeah, he's leading the way. Dynamo, Daze ain't here to play. I knew his brother Deano holding it down. Straight from old London town. Scottish Falcons and friends, you know how we get down. We got that die-hard mentality. Frequent Fliers family. Scotland, England, Mexico. Stateside crew running the show. Falcons, Hawks, Dream, Braves, Georgia sports, that's all we know. And so much more. We loyal to the soil. We ride or die. Keep it here, keep it tilted. AFNI.
Gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we hope you enjoyed that. I may be a bit biased, but I think it was fire. So that was Loyal to the Soil, the new intro jingle for the AFNI, and we are starting here, kicking off season 2 of the Scottish Falcons and Friends, as it will henceforth be known. I, as always, am your boy Will the Thrill. To my right is my co-host with the most. How you doing, Dynamo Daze? Good to have you back. I know it's been a minute, brother. It's good to have you back on the show.
It's been a while, mate. Obviously, I've been like crazy with the business and everything, mate. So, but it's good to finally say that there's going to be a Falcons game this week, which is fantastic, mate. So, the off season is over. All the garbage is over. All the quiet times is over. We've now got this week. We've got a game that we can watch. So I'm looking forward to it, mate. It's good to be back.
Definitely, man. It's been a long off season, and we've all been having fun, kind of speculating and seeing what we can accumulate. But it's time for the real meaningful snaps now to come into play. And as I say, we're joined not just by our own frequent flyers, but we like to keep the heavy hitters coming as well. And here we stay true to that because we have the People's OG here for you as well from Mr. Right Network. The OG himself, Big Sam. How are you, Sam? Thanks for joining us. It's good to have you, brother.
Hey, man, I'm just happy that the OG is now streaming over international waters, man.
It's good to have you, man. Your boy's going worldwide. It's about time too. Shout out to your network too. I know we've been busy over there doing some wrestling and some good stuff. So it's good to have you over on our side of the pond for a change. And get back to some dirty bird business. Because as I say,
well, I gave you a word I was gonna make it to, you know what I'm saying, to get a chance to, sit and chat with you guys live, so here I am.
Yes, sir, bro. Better late than never. And it's the start of a brand new season, so start as we mean to go on.
Right.
But before we do, I'd like to kind of kick it off with a little bit of a sad news, and it's the first time that I've had to kind of bring this up, and it's our in memoriam section. So I would like to, on behalf of everyone here at AFNI and the Scottish Falcons, show a big rest in peace to Christina Ulbrich. Obviously, our DC's lady wife, she passed away after a brave fight against cancer at the age of 48. Obviously, Coach Brick's still been turning up at practice, working hard, but obviously I feel like I can speak for you boys as well, and obviously I'll give you guys the chance to speak on this as well, but just it's no age to go, and to obviously see Coach Brick still coming in, still working hard and doing business. We just want him to know that obviously our thoughts are with him, that the team's behind him. We just want to obviously see him get over that hump, and we're obviously there to support because we know how hard a time it is as well. So obviously just prayers up to the Ulbrich family, to all their friends as well at this difficult time.
Can we not go back to a couple of years ago when all we really needed to worry about was a hoax call, a draftee? You know what I mean? Now we're talking about his wife passing away, which is, 48. It's really young. I mean, my mother passed away at 45, and that was really young. But it's really, really sad, and I'm just going to swear, but fuck cancer. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And the horse that rode in on, because I'm kind of in the same boat as you. My dad was 44 when he passed away, Obviously, he had a life full of health problems, but it's still like, although he kind of set our pretenses as to that, and he used to tell us I wouldn't see 50. But you like, even with that news, you always kind of. But it is what it is. It's so we know we say that because we know that obviously the boat that you're in. So yeah, I mean, just we give all the love and support, both to the team and to obviously the Ulbrich family.
I mean, what I would say is that it came out of the blue because I think the family had kept it really, really quiet. I don't think I had heard anything historically that his wife was battling cancer. So they've obviously they've kept it quiet, and unfortunately, she's passed. So again, a shout out and prayers to Jeff and the family. You know what I mean? That from across the pond. It's really sad.
Yeah, they really kept it close to the vest. I know that it was a mention about 2 years ago, but you know, Albrecht is always a pretty private person. You know, when it came to the home front, but Arthur knew, Matt knew, you know what I'm saying. So when that moment came, you know, because he had actually made it to the facility and was getting the day started, and then got the call and had to leave. You know what I'm saying. So it was, you know, and then for him to be at camp, you know, sometimes, you know, things affect people in different ways. You know what I'm saying. So you know, him being at work is probably, you know, helping him maintain, you know what I'm saying, a sense of, you know, normalcy, and you know, and you know, keeping it in the road. You know, I've been, you know, making it my business over the last few days, and hey, you know, y'all go to whatever platform you can find on me and show that family some love, man. You know, because that man lost his life partner of 27 years. You know what I'm saying, and that's a tough thing. You know, so, you know, just if you get a chance, post something to the page, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, Falcons strong, you know, family strong, community love, anything, you know what I'm saying, that's going to help this man move on, you know, with the day-to-day activities, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, the team, you know what I'm saying, guys on the team have, you know, been rallying around and trying to keep it as normal form as possible. Which, you know, that's a rough thing to lose your person.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And as I say, I dread to think, because I know what situation I would be in if I lost my significant other. So I don't envy him. But yeah, my thoughts and my prayers are there 100%. So well said there as well, Sam. And just obviously know that the full Falcons fan base are behind you as well. But we do have a lot of good news to get into tonight as well. And while you were talking about camp, I think it's important that we start talking about some of the things that we've missed out on in terms of this roster, because there's quite a few bits of roster news which we'll try and get through in a kind of roundabout section, if you don't mind, gentlemen. So first off, we've got obviously RB1, my guy, your guy, our guy. Bijan himself has signed a new 3-year, $75 million extension, making him the then highest paid. I know from what I hear, I think Gibbs has done it now for Detroit, but he will be staying in the A until 2030. So in terms of that, obviously I'll pass it around to you guys as well. But you know, from season 1 and on, I can't say enough good things about Bijan. I think he's going to continue to be the heart and soul of this team this season as well. So, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised it only cost 75. I was expecting somewhere a little bit more than that. But, yeah, I think that was a great deal. And I'm happy to have him stay in the red and black. Des?
I mean, what I would say is if you're wanting to have the best player in your team be in any position, running back is the position, because if that was a wide receiver or if that was your quarterback, you're paying double the money. And to be honest, when you look at the two deals that are done, I'm pretty sure you'll look back in a couple of years and say that the Bijan deal was far. It's probably the most cost effective for a team than the Jahmyr Gibbs contract. So, and the way to look at it as well, he's a running back. This might be his only major contract because the life of a running back can be short. So he deserves, I mean, he literally deserves that for the last couple of years that he's gave us. So, so fair play to him. Listen, we'll talk about the other contracts, but this is a slam dunk. You cannot say anything about this. If it was another $5 million a year or whatever, again, you just cannot argue. We've already said that I think Terry Fontenot left Ian Cunningham in a really tough position because he came into quite a few players that were looking for big contracts and wanted to be signed long term. And he had to come in and build a team around effectively having to pay his biggest stars. So fair play on Ian Cunningham, but it's a slam dunk. Bijan here for the next 4 years, and I can't be happier.
Yep, me too. I mean, for the guys who are tuning in the chat, just a couple of weeks ago, Daze and I were able to have our first official Scottish Falcons meeting in person. So that was a lot of fun. And the first thing we inevitably got into was these two extensions because the one we'll go into in a few minutes, obviously, was slightly more divisive than the Bijan one, as we'll come on to. But, I mean, Sam, you must be as happy as we are that he's coming home. So...
Of course. I knew once they got everybody else, I knew Bijan was going to be the last, of this group to get his because his was going to be the most significant and the most priciest. But we got the offensive core for the most part, dialed in. And I think that was the overall mission. Bergeron, Lindstrom, Pitts, Drake, now Bijan are all locked in. I think, going into, once the season is pretty much done, whatever the outcome is, you're going to be looking to, seal Diablo, and Bates for any possible case if he stays, which him and his camp has been campaigning to stay. So I mean, right now we're in a good position, with all that has been done. We didn't overpay for any of that. That's when you look at what has gone on this offseason. We didn't overpay for anybody. We took strategic choices and chances on some guys, especially defensively. Ian, I think, has done a masterful job managing the cap and bringing in what we have brought in, instead of, but Bijan, it's done. It's in. We're in there.
Yes, sir. As the man said, it's locking down this offensive core. Sam, if you've got a TV in the back, could you try turning it down a bit for me if that's okay? But there's a little bit of feedback. And a shout out to the First Lady of AFN herself as well, Maggie T. She's welcoming our boy Des back. Yeah, it has been a minute since we got together. As I say, we're glad to all the guys stateside who are taking the time to tune in. We have been promised in the chats, the group chats, that we run a couple of extra guests which will be popping on throughout the show as well. But as you say, Sam, not just locking down the skill positions, but also the big boys up front as well. This is where Des and I were a little bit too in two minds. Certainly we were happy for the man, but as we said a little bit earlier, it was Matthew Bergeron as the other player who will be getting extended. That's for 4 years, $96 million. And in addition to that, he becomes the highest paid player born in Canada in NFL history as well. So great news for Bergeron as well. Although I do think 96 over 4 was a little bit steep. But with that being said, I do understand that high-level play in any position comes at a premium now. But I'll pass it to you first, Des, as well, again, just to let you give your thoughts. But yeah, I feel like it was a slight overpay, but I feel like it was, given the issues we've got at right tackle, it was important that we shored down the interior of the O-line. So yeah, I'm not completely against it, but I just feel like we maybe paid a little bit too much. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but I mean, listen, we discussed it, and it did look like an overpay. But when you look at if anything in the O line, you're going to have to get your wallet out and search down the back of the sofa, because it is the premium positions. You see that with some of the biggest contracts up, bar quarterback and wide receiver, it's the O line. So I'm hoping that effectively this brings them on a wee bit. The fact that we've got Callahan there to help as well is going to be even better. And the O-line coach. And for me, I'm hoping it's going to be like a Jesse Bates kind of contract, where when you look back in a year or two, when all the other offensive lines and all the other guards get their contract coming up and the money just continues increasing and increasing, I'm hoping that in a couple of years you'll look back and see this contract and think, yeah, we stole Bergeron. I don't think, I mean, I seen a comment that he was the number 22 rated guard in the NFL, but the way to look at it is, if we didn't sign Bergeron and we effectively traded him or walked away from him, where are we going at this point? We've obviously got the issue with Javon Taylor is on the side. So we do need to. We have been an O-line that's been very consistent. Obviously, the biggest issue we've had this year is Caleb McGarry not being here anymore. So effectively, as soon as the Caleb McGarry news came out, that probably put the emphasis back on Ian Cunningham, that he had to effectively pay what Bergeron was looking for, because you can't be in a position where you get two of your main players from last year and not in the team at the start of the season this year. So I think that probably put a wee bit of pressure on Ian Cunningham, but I do believe, and I'm hoping that in a couple of years' time we'll look back on this and say, yeah, it was a steal.
I hope so. I really do hope so, and I feel like he's certainly a talented guard, as you say, ranked 22. Well, if you think about it, there's 64 starting guards at any one point in the NFL. So, I mean, you are talking about someone who's able to start on pretty much any team in the league by that narrative as well. And a tip of the cap to one of the OG supporters and one of the personal mentors of ours as well, and a good friend in Mad Mike. You know where the link is if you want to join us, brother, and get in on this chat. But yeah, the last piece of like recent roster news in terms of signings and things of that nature comes off the back of the Jalen Walker injury, which we'll get into in a little bit more depth in just a minute. But I'll pass this over to you, Sam, because being an OG, this is something you might know a little bit about as well. But we've also picked up a former 4th round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals, that being edge rusher Cameron Sample. So if you would like to take the floor, sir, do you know much about this kid? What he kind of can do, or is this more of a camp body for you? How do you feel about that, Sam?
This became news to me just actually about a half hour ago, and I think he's more than a camp body. I think this young man is going to contend for, a big rotation piece up front, being a big body with Mason Smith, with Hand, I think in any case, he'll be another one of those that's going to help Brandon Dulles get a lot of one-on-ones, in great situations. I think it's a fabulous pickup. As I'm looking through the information, and in him being a cast off from the Bengals. I don't know what's going over there in Cincinnati, man. You know,
Is it going?
Maybe his mic.
Yeah, we've lost him.
No, he raised a good point because Cincinnati is interesting. I'm not quite sure what is going on with them, but then again, they're paying essentially 36% of their cap to 3 players. So I think they're kind of hamstrung in what they can do monetarily, and I feel like that's where the Bengals fall down. But I mean, from what I hear, he's a decent rotational piece to have in there, in that D tackle mix. I think he's more of a 3 tech from the sounds of it, but I think he can get the job done or at least compete, and give some of these guys a scare as well. Other than that, I've not really seen a lot of film on him. I'll need to go back and look on that in the next few days. Des, have you seen anything from Cam Sample? No.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, this just effectively hit me about an hour ago when I seen it. So I think you're in that. I mean, obviously because I've kind of been away with it. Been so busy with the business, but you're at a point where you're starting to hear reports from the training camp, and you're hearing names that you've never heard, and you know what I mean. You're literally. I mean, late last night, I'm pausing a video to read the back of the jersey. One of the, like, it was Brocklehurst or something. It was like and I'm like. You're just at a point where there's that the 90 men squad is just so big, you just don't know everything. What I would say is that when you're looking at the conversation that's coming out from the camp, you're hearing a lot of plaudits about new draftees, about signings that effectively you overlooked that look as if they're starting to come good in camp. So again, we need to have faith in Ian Cunningham. He wasn't scared to go out and get the checkbook out for the Kyle Pitts and Drake London, which we've not really mentioned with the Drake London top that on.
Absolutely. And with that being said, I think it's one of those fun bits of camp, but maybe not so fun. I don't tend to say outright on the show that there's an episode coming up that I'm dreading, but I know there will at some point have to be one where we talk about who makes the 53-man roster, and I'm not really looking forward to that right now. If you ask me again in a few weeks, maybe the answer will be different.
What I do need to say is Cash Jones must be the oldest looking rookie I have ever seen. I seen him getting interviewed earlier on today, and that man is bordering on 45. I mean, I'm so sorry, but that beard and I mean, it looks. I mean, it does.
You never know, boys. There might be hope for your boy to get a contract yet. I'll keep making the calls if anybody needs a set of hands. I'm not saying I'm going to run you any 4-4s or anything, but I can catch a ball.
As we say in Scotland, he's had a hard paper round, that's for sure. So, but I know I couldn't believe it. But again, what I would say is that I'll go back to last year. Well, we were all optimistic. I've seen it exact same as what happened last year. I've seen this year. I literally seen like a video, and it was two guys talking about the record for the Falcons this year, and I think it was going to be like 6-11. And I'm kind of looking at that, and I'm shouting, it's coming into my head, the disrespect, but we were here last year as well, mate, and we said the same thing. So I'm horizontal this year, mate. I've said before that there's no pressure on Ian Cunningham, there's no pressure on Kevin Stefanski. This is all about effectively building the team and getting the team right. They've let quite a few people walk out the door that should have been like major parts in their team, as in draftees that were drafted 3-4 years ago. They should have been the players that were coming into the fore in the teams.
Yeah.
So we're effectively back to the start. So I'm at a point where I'm horizontal. They can tell us it's 0-17. I'm not really caring. It is what it is. These guys just need to go out and show it on the park. But what I would say, and again, probably not going to talk about this, I will say one thing. I'll say a few things. First thing I'll say is that Tua has got no ego. There's nothing egotistical about that man. He'll come out and he talks about Michael Penix Jr. Glowing terms about how hard he's working. All I've got to say is I don't know what he's walked away from at Miami and how bad it was, but even with the competition, that looks like a man who's literally been born again. Literally every time you see him standing on that podium, he's got a smile on his face. He's so happy to be there, and that's fantastic from my point of view.
It's genuinely so refreshing to see, and I mean that's a good segue as well, because it gives us a point to kind of give some glowing reviews of our own. Because shout out again down into the chat to Point Game Official, Clarence as we know him. You're supposed to be on the panel. If you're still that way inclined, then you're more than welcome to join us. The link's in the chat, brother. But also give this guy a like and a subscribe. Help him get over 1,000 subs, because he's at round about 995 or so right now. So help him get that magic 5 subscribers. We appreciate you jumping on, Clarence. And then someone who's new to the family, it's good to see you, Eric. Thanks for the shout out. And then one of the OGs is back in the chat as well. Southside Ricky, what's going on, everyone? Falcons Nation over everybody. You already know.
Absolutely.
But as I say, it can't all be good things, but we do have one more piece of good kind of roster, or I guess in this case, staffing news to go over. And that's that former offensive centre. You may know him as the Mud Duck, Todd McClure, to you young guns. He went into the Ring of Honor in 2022, and he will now be returning to Atlanta to be the coordinator of player development and the senior personnel assistant as well. So another kind of Matt Ryan connection coming back to the fray. But once again, you got to keep your legends close to home. So another great move there, boys. Don't you agree?
Oh, most definitely. Adding to scouting and player development department. This is a long-term move. Being able to develop guys, putting together a developmental program. You know what I'm saying? I think this is very, very, very huge. Addition to the front office, scouting and development. You know what I'm saying? Department and personnel. To bring that guy in who played at a high level on the line. You know what I'm saying? With Matt Ryan. Hey, I expect nothing less.
Mm-hmm. He's been doing good things so far, and I kind of said it since he took the job, and I think I maintain it even now. And Iceman, we trust. That's just how it's got to be. He's shown me enough to where I'm convinced that he has nothing but the best interest of this team at heart. And there's not a guy in that building who wants that championship ring more than Matt Ryan. I can tell you that right now. That being said, I feel like, as Des said, we do need to temper our expectations a little bit for this season. And on that note, that's kind of where we remind you that here we like to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it did start off quite nicely, but now we do need to kind of bring you guys back to earth just a little bit. Because as we know, Jalen Walker, he tore his ACL. He's going to be out for the entire season. To add into the mix on top of that, you've also got D'Angelo Malone has been added to the PUP list, although we did replace him with another defensive tackle signing, and Marlon Tuipulotu coming from Kansas City, a former 6th rounder from the Philadelphia Eagles. Just to rattle this off, he had 48 total tackles, 3 sacks, and 1 fumble recovery across 33 career games. not a lot of starts, but he's a sound rotational piece to have. And we've also just learned from camp recently that Divine Diablo, in addition to that, has went down with an ankle injury. So that's going to be testy to watch the next few days. I don't have any further information other than he did go down. Training was stopped as well, but I'll pass it around the panel. Des, have you heard anything over the last day or two about how he's getting on?
So at the last press conference, Kevin Stefanski just said that he rolled over on himself and said that he didn't think it would be too bad, and he was expecting to see him sooner rather than later. So I think there's a lot of optimism. And again, now we're talking about this, one thing I would like to bring up is that I think with Kevin Stefanski, I think we've actually got a coach now. What I would say is that I wasn't the biggest fan when he gets signed. I mean, from my point of view, when you sign a coach that's been sacked by the Cleveland Browns, it's not the biggest confidence boost. But he's come out and said a few things. He's come out and said that obviously there's live tackling that's happened now in training camp. Drake London was asked at a press conference, when was the last time you actually had live tackling? And he said, I've never had live tackling. So effectively, Arthur Smith or Raheem Morris didn't do live tackling. He's also come out and said that in the first and the third games, he's going to be playing starters. Now, we've all been screaming for this, and I'm hoping it doesn't come back and kick his arse. But as he said, the only way to prepare for football is to play football, and that includes in training camp. So the mindset, and this is where the benefit is of having, I mean, you could say Raheem Morris was an experienced head coach. He wasn't really. He'd done 2 years, 10, 12 years ago. Arthur Smith was a new coach. This is where the benefit of having an experienced head coach comes in, because he's probably learned the good and the bad way when it came to preseason games. And to be honest, what I will say is, if one of the players go out there and they're a starter and they get injured, so be it. We need to be in a position where we're playing starters in the preseason, because for so many years, like going back, so many, even with Dan Quinn for a wee while, so many years we were starting really, really slowly in the season. And when you look at the first 5 or 6 games we've got, I mean, it's not for the faint-hearted.
Certainly not.
So we need to start quickly. And again, I'll say it now, there will be Atlanta Falcons fans out there that as soon as a starter gets injured in a preseason game, they'll be one of the ones that said we shouldn't have started our starters. So we can't have it both ways, guys. We need to just accept, if we're wanting to start quick and we want these guys to be at their peak in game 1, we need to start them. So everything again I'm seeing from Kevin Stefanski, I'm happy with. He seems to be, he's learned from his mistakes, and he seems to be a coach's coach. He seems to know what he wants, and he's not scared to say it. Yeah,
couldn't agree more. Sounds good. You're about to get another guest in the building. Clarence is hopping on soon. But I think when you're talking about just the best way to get ready is by playing football, yeah, injuries are going to happen. It's always been a rough sport. But it's just obviously what always seems to occur for the Falcons is it's always players in key positions. So it's Jalen Walker, it's Divine Diablo, and although he seems to be coming back, obviously we don't know if he's going to have any aggravation or anything like that, or we don't know how that goes just yet. But obviously, touch wood, obviously that he does come back ready to go. But with that being said, it just feels like it's something that we've kind of. I'm glad it's in this season where I feel a bit like you, Des, where I'm resounded to kind of hope for the worst, hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So with these injuries hitting, I'm just like, nah, give the young guys a shake. because I feel like these young core of guys that we've got through the draft, some of these pickups as well on the 1 years, they need a proper shake to show what they've got. Guys like Ojulari and things like that. So I feel like a lot of what Coach Stefanski is doing is rubbing me the right way. And I said to you, I was never the biggest. I wasn't convinced when he first got the job. I think I was in your bandwagon. We were kind of Kubiak guys, but sometimes that's just the way it falls. And I mean, we still got a 2-time Coach of the Year, and he's come in and he's showed his credentials right off the bat. So you've got to be happy about that. But yeah, I mean, Jalen Walker's one of the guys you really didn't want to lose.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say, and I'll let you take a crack at this one first, Sam. Who's your ideal sort of core then, linebacker wise? If you don't have Jalen Walker, are you rushing Perkins off the edge, or are you? But although I hear he's inside, so who are you using to kind of shore up the absence, as it were?
Well, the good thing about this situation is that we have a multitude of talent in camp in the linebacker room. I wouldn't want to be a defensive coach when first cuts come, at this particular juncture. But you got, what I'm saying, enough talent there that whatever the situation comes up to be, you're going to be in pretty much the hands. You're gonna miss Jalen Walker because of his ability to cover in the pass defense, and also rush the passer. It's gonna be hard to replace a Swiss Army knife if you wouldn't get the advantage. But there are enough guys. Trice being at 100%, getting it real first cut at, getting his spot, along with the Daniels and Ojulari, Chris Harris, and all those guys that we brought in. So I'm not worried, because we got like eight or nine guys in the linebacker room that are fighting for starting spots, backup spots, rotational spots, and that's the linebacker room and the receiver room are the two biggest position battles that can go on.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. I think the linebacker room looks so much more interesting now than it has in past seasons.
They're calling Divine a mild sprain. So they're probably going to ice him up and, hit him with the electrodes, for a few days. He probably won't play at all in his first preseason game. He'll probably play in week 2 of the preseason, to get some reps out there. By him missing a whole entire, amount of, time as his injury situation is. I saw a video this morning, him walking around his facility. So, there's that.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of what you're saying, Sam. I mean, it's definitely good to have some swagger in that core again. And shout out to our new co-host as well down in the chat. He's rushing home to give you guys as much of himself as he can tonight. So go show your brother Deano some love. He'll be joining us as soon as he can. But we have another guest just jumping on as well. But before we let him on, I'm going to shout out Ricky. And don't get it twisted, because although we weren't exactly happy with Stefanski, we were certainly ecstatic that Raheem was gone. We'll say that much. And without much further ado, some more
can I comment on the Stefanski hire? Him coming off the tree, the culture tree that he came off of, Mike Shanahan, Kubiak, and those guys, and to be able to pull off being 2-time coach of the year in that organization, in that division, was no small feat. You know what I'm saying? I think, it's his system. I say it all the time. If Nick Chubb could run for almost 1,400 yards in this man's system, and see, you getting a lot. There's a lot of pushback because of everything that happened last year with Shador. And all right, but we're still talking about a 2-time coach of the year.
Yep.
Okay, and then when you go back and you look at, when you go back and look at how he got to, become a head coach and his stops and how he grinded up from position coach to coordinator, a couple years, to being a head coach. It's a whole lot better. It's eons better than what we had the last 2 years.
I know it, and I feel like it's self-evident at this point just how much we've improved, and we haven't even snapped a football yet, which is the real thing. And shout out to our brother who's joining us for the first time. Welcome to the Frequent Flyers and welcome to AFNI, Simo. Good to have you, my brother.
What's going on, fellas, man? I appreciate y'all for having me on, man. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Yeah, man. Good convo here, man. I'm excited about the season, man. I like some of y'all's perspective on some of the things. I do feel like
we've been working hard. To get your thoughts out there too. So as I say, we've been chomping at the bit in the group chats for a while about getting you on. So I mean, let your thoughts be known, man. I mean, I know I'm not sure if you've had the chance to take in any of camp yet, but if you have, let me know what you've been thinking so far.
I've been to a practice and I've been following some of the local media and reports out of camp or whatnot. I'm really excited to see what we're going to do with the young linebackers that we have. I'm still looking at a little bit more info on there. I saw a report this morning or on 92.9 The Game. That's the local radio station. And I kind of take some things with a grain of salt with some of the people. I feel like sometimes there's good analysis, but then also people who cover – There are local sports media that covers the Falcons who are not really Falcons fans. They're not. They're just very cynical sometimes. So I have to kind of go back and I'll look at some things. I've been looking at some film on Kendall Perkins. I'm sorry, Kendall Daniels. And Kendall Daniels. And I did see something where they were suggesting that maybe he was used a little bit improperly.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I kind of want to get a little bit of a deeper thought on that though. But I'm kind of encouraged by hearing, encouraged but discouraged by the drops that I'm hearing from Zachariah Branch. But I like the fact that they're not just giving him that number 3 wide receiver position either. He's had some drops and they're making him really earn his reps out there, even though he's been very effective with the ball in his hands. If you start putting the ball on the turf, that's going to be a huge problem. And I feel like that kind of stunted Michael Penix's growth a bit last season as well too. So I do like that this team is really gritty, that they're going out there, they have the tackling practices like you talked about. They want to be a hard-nosed, tough football team. They're not going to allow just one tragedy or one incident to just change the complete philosophy of the football team. But at the same token, I think we might not see Bijan out there on the first preseason game, for example. So I think it's good. It's really interesting. I think everything's a case by case, but I do like the direction that Stefanski is going in. It sounds like he has these guys really focused, and he's not getting too high on everything either. He's like, hey, we still have a lot that we want to work on and that we want to develop. And I do think that defense on that line up front, that's going to really have a lot to do with how well this defense can function. So
and that's why I was particularly glad to hear that Zach Harrison was back, for instance, and
Zach Harrison is huge
too as well. So, and then Dorless is still going to keep eating, because if we keep him in that off 3, no reason to believe that he couldn't, with more bodies around him, go on to repeat or even better what he did last season. So I think the front seven's in a good position. Obviously, the Jalen Walker loss is a big loss to have. But obviously, with that being said, I saw that we did convert Harold Perkins to the inside now. which potentially is going to give you some fire inside between Divine Diablo and Harold Perkins. Yeah, I'm sold. That sounds tasty to me. But as you say, one of the biggest camp takes, I'd said that Zachariah Branch was set for quite a big role in the offense in 2026. But as you say, the drops is the biggest thing. But I feel like that was what we kind of saw coming into this. We knew the player that we were getting. We knew he excelled in yak and he excelled in being shifty. So we looked at him traditionally as more of a slot style archetype that can do some more explosive things. He has the speed to obviously get open over the top and things like that, but you can't be worrying about yards after catch if he can't secure the catch. So right. I think, again, it brings us back to what we were saying earlier, is just Stefanski's not going to just give you the job. And I feel like that's why a lot of people who have been idealistic about seeing the Tyrrell brothers out there together again, maybe that should tell you something. I know they want to limit rotations of pure starters and things like that, but yeah, maybe Avion's not hitting it quite the rate that we expect, whereas Mike Hughes is maybe being a bit more consistent. I can't speak concretely to that, so if anyone in the chat has any takes on how the DBs have been doing, I'd be intrigued on that rotation. There's a lot coming out of camp to be interested about. Sorry, Des, you were going to say something?
I think Zachariah Branch is what we wanted Darnell Mooney to be, which was literally a player that can get down the field. What I would say is that I know, and looking at it, I think we're probably at a point where I think Tua is going to start for the first game, the first main game. But when you look at what they're trying to do with Zachariah Branch, and the fact that you look at Penix and how good he is with the long ball down the field, you can see what they're trying to do with Zachariah Branch, and they want him to get down the field. And the speed. I mean, a lot of people, even Tua's come out and said that literally, if I get the ball there, Zachariah Branch is going to be there. So, I mean, for a third round pick, it looks as if he's going to be great. I want to go back to the linebackers as well, and again, Kendall Daniels and Harold Perkins Jr. is getting a lot of plaudits as well coming out of the training camp. So. As I said before, I don't think Kevin Stefanski and the backroom staff are under any pressure this year. Whatever happens, it's all about building a team. And if I'm the coach, I would look at these young players and go, if they're good enough, they're old enough, get them out there. And again, you'll see that on, I think, is it Friday night? Yeah. You'll see that on Friday night with how they're going to use these players. But we're seeing the strategy that Ian Cunningham's got when they're bringing players in. They're looking for physical, fast players. And I know Terry Fontenot come out a few times and says that's what they need as well, but he ended up not signing fast physical players, or the fast physical players they did sign were from Montana. And they were injury prone, and we had to effectively release him after he's walked away with $7 million.
And two nice years out of 5. Let me remind you. And shout out to Vincent down in the chat as well. He's saying he loves the moves, and what Ian said Friday night, that he'll never stop trying to make the team better. Can't disagree with you there, because I feel like he said what he was going to do: draft, develop, retain. He's brought in guys with whom he has rapport already. He's drafted very, very well, especially when we came in with only 5 picks. And then, as you say, even coming out up to today with a Cameron Sample signing, as I say, a former 4th rounder who can really get the job done in that rotational mix. And you had something else you wanted to say there, Clarence?
Well, I was going to say, I kind of feel like I don't want to be too doom and gloom on Terry, man. I think Terry actually hit on some really good picks. I mean, he knocked it out the park with having Drake London and going out here getting Bijan and Kyle Pitts as well. I do feel as though Dorless, that was a huge steal in the draft right there. Montana State, I'm not too, injuries happen. I feel as though Montana State, Troy Anderson, coming out of Montana, he showed the ability and the athleticism that you needed on this team to be able to make plays. And he even had a week where he was NFC Player of the Week as well. I feel as though if he would have just been able to stay on the field, we wouldn't have.
Don't make me cry, man. Don't make me cry about Troy, man. I just
and it is what it is. I mean, I'm okay with us getting rid of him. I mean, he's got to go if you can't make the club in the tub. But I don't think it was a bad decision to go and trade him. I mean, go and draft him. Everything's hindsight. I mean, I've seen other people talk about, oh man, we could have had the Kobe D, we could have had this person and that person.
Yeah, he affected his team in two phases of the game, man.
He's just
talk about Kobe Dean. His problems were staying healthy as well, as we've seen over the years. So
exactly.
Exactly.
But a lot of the Zach Harrison, that was a great pick in my humble opinion as well too. I mean, I think it's about how these coaches utilize these players. But yeah, those are some really good picks that we had in there in some of those places as well too. So I just want to.
Terry did his job. He caught a stray in the backroom politics with Rich McKay. That's why he's no longer with us.
Oh no, yeah.
I mean, we'll call it what it is, honestly.
But again, we've had this discussion on the show. At what point is it the draftee, and at what point is it the coaching? You know what I mean? So yeah. And to be honest, when you and again, this went right over my head when you get Drake London coming out and saying that he's for the first time in his career, he's got live tackling and in training camp. You know what I mean? And effectively all the BS we starters not starting the preseason. But again, another shout out to Ian Cunningham. A lot of plaudits out of training camp for Mason Smith. Seemingly he's gone off in one. He looks really, really. Seemingly he's so imposing. He's like 6'7", 6'8", and he's doing a bit of damage. So again, we can only hope that. What I would say, and again on defense to Terry Fontenot, we all remember what it was like the first year with Terry Fontenot. The cap space was so bad that it was a team full of 1-year contracts, because he literally just had to. I mean, if your granny had came to Atlanta 20 years ago. That was a good sign that you could sign for Atlanta. That's where we were getting to when Terry come in. So again, from that point of view, give him his plaudits. But when you looked at some of the other drafting and you look at like the Eagles, how many players that they've got in the team that are big important players that effectively we drafted. There was a lot. I will always say that every draft, every pick is a gamble, but there was a lot that I mean, nobody's looking at Texas and not seeing Bijan Robinson and knowing that he was going to be the future of the game. You know what I mean? Drake London as well. Drake London, you could see what he was going to be. And again, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but he got the right one spot on, but there was so many bad ones and this constantly drafting up in the second round, losing picks. And then you see Ian Cunningham coming in, and the first thing he said was, we've got 5 picks. We'll never have 5 picks again and ever in the draft. So he went from Terry Fontenot, who was, I'll give up that pick to get that player, whereas Ian Cunningham, it's all about having the number, because you're going to miss out on players, but the more picks you've got, the more chance you have of landing good players. And when you look at it from that point of view, that's where Terry Fontenot lost it with me. When you look back in hindsight, I supported him. Every pick he picked, I supported him 100%. But when you're looking again at like Harold Perkins Jr., and we're getting him in the 6th round, and literally, I seen the report as well from 92.9 the game, and they're talking about how LSU were using them literally. They were using them wrong, because early on he was a smaller player, and players in Georgia, because he won game against Georgia, the coaches panicked and changed them to different position. Now anybody can lose their shit against Georgia. It happens.
Trust me, as a Texas Longhorns fan, I know that only too well. We've lost our shit the last 2 years against Georgia. The wheels have come off. I hear that cackle. You just stay silent down there until I ask you a question.
I'm lucky. I don't have a college team, so I can blast all these. I don't have a college team.
Yeah, you can just sit there and enjoy it and laugh at all of us. That's the beauty of it. We need to get you a college team, man, so you can get in on the fight.
I don't want. I love watching college football just with enjoyment. This is the way it was for the first half a season in NFL. I would watch the Atlanta Falcons games from like 2008 onwards, but it wasn't a love. I watched them because I'd been to Atlanta and I watched out for their results, but it was probably into the late first season, 2008, 2009, where I started falling in love with the Falcons. But I still enjoyed watching a game and just enjoying it and seeing and not having a side in it. And I've got that with college football, and I can watch. I mean, I can literally watch the most drivel college football game and enjoy it. So
there's something to be said for that. There really has. And I did have one more thing about camp that I feel like needs to be stated, because a lot of people seem to be going off him, at least in the media, and that is that for the first time in his entire Atlanta career, Chris Lindstrom has been neglected to be put in, or snubbed. I do like that word, snubbed, from the top 100 players. Officially, he landed at number 104 there. And from what I've seen over camp in the last few days, bro is pissed. He is manhandling guys like Brandon Dorless and things like this in a lot of instances. And I feel like his biggest problem was that when he doesn't have a right tackle outside, that is Caleb McGarry, who's also a mauler, is that he can give up some ground. The last 2 days of practice, I've not seen him give an inch. I think he's going to hit this season as the Chris Lindstrom we know and love, guys. I don't know if you guys have seen anything else, good or bad in that context, but everything that I'm seeing out of 6'3" is looking good. When you were up at camp, Simo, did you catch anything at Lindstrom's work?
I didn't get to see a whole lot of heavy individual. When I went up there, I got there a little bit late, and it was on the day that Jalen Walker got injured, honestly. So, unfortunately, they cut the practice a little bit short. But I was watching a lot of the they were doing a lot of tempo stuff, and it was a lot of passing and 2-minute drill at the 11-on-11 portion where I was at, getting to see. So, but you said that Lindstrom has been he's snubbed. The list is over, huh?
104th. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, interesting. No, that's trippy. That's trippy.
Yeah, that was an ATL out of the top 100.
In all the merrier, I don't think it really matters too much. I do think it's a little something to put a chip on your shoulder about, but I just really want. I think that a lot of the players in Atlanta don't get the respect that they deserve. Sometimes because it's easy to kind of pick at Atlanta because we've had so many mishaps and some losses. And kind of giving up some leads a few times, not only in actual games, but just in the regular season for the playoff race far too many times. But you got to change that narrative if you want to get that respect. So I think it's something to work toward. I will say that I believe that this team has been put together pretty well for the last maybe at least 2 or 3 seasons. To be honest with you, I'll give Arthur Smith a little bit of a pass with not having a viable quarterback out there at all. But the last 2 years, this would have been a playoff team if we would have had better special teams play and a lot better play calling. Yes, definitely situational coaching, not only in terms of game clock management and how we make adjustments in the game, but just making adjustments to when you need to actually sub players out or move on from people. We held on to Ku a little bit too long as well, too. So Raheem was probably a little bit too nice of a guy in that regard with that. But I think this year, it doesn't even matter who the quarterback is. I think that we have good enough quarterback play out of Tua and Penix, as long as both of them don't go down, that we can still be a playoff team because just – I was going to say if we improve our special teams play, but I just kind of think that that's a thing that's going to be a reality for us. I like a lot of the new talent that they brought. I like these rookies. I think that these guys are going to be instant impact special teams guys. We're talking about guys like Deano, Terrell, Kendall, Daniels, Perkins. Those guys are going to be special teams guys regardless of how much they play with the first unit or play regular snaps. Also, guys like Brown, who we got Sidney Brown coming in. We brought him in here specifically to be able to be a rotational guy, but also be a special teams guy as well, too. I think our special teams are going to be a lot more heavy on the defensive side this year. I think they really want to have an emphasis on just the little things. But special teams is a third of the game, and people kind of forget that side of things. I really like where we are with our kicking this year, and I think I like the punting situation as well, too. I think that we're gonna win a lot more close games than what we had before. So I'm excited now. I don't want to just be Mr. Positivity and just blindly believing. You got to go out here. You got to play. You got to execute. You have to do all the little things. You have to make it through a full season without having any people injured. But they even changed up the training staff, though. So it seems as though even though we have a few injuries right now, it's not really that bad ultimately. No. So
they're saying as well that Zachariah Branch is going to be a returner. Is going to be doing the returning as well.
Yeah. See, I worry about giving them too much to do. They are ramping up what they give them in every practice. I've seen that. And in a receiving standpoint, that's fine, but I don't want to throw too much in. We've got Nate Carter there. I'd still say explore that option. He has the east-west speed and the kind of skill set that you want in a returner. And guys in the chat, if you've been following the show for the last little while, then you will know that we've been excited to make this happen for the first time. And better late than never, your man has arrived. Our newest brother Deano, South London's finest. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah. Don't mention South London right now. That's the reason why I'm late. It's just an adventure when you come home. It's just an adventure every day. It's just.
Yeah, well, but at least I said it in a good context. I said you're South London's finest. It's the rest of it that puts you to shame. So you've got to give me that.
If you come to Scotland, all we need to worry about is a haggis walking across the road and stop the traffic. You know what I mean?
Come up here, and as long as you can stagger into the hotel sideways, you'll be just fine.
And I've been hearing that Aniawa is pretty good as well too. Has been looking pretty good the last few days out there in camp. I heard that he had a pretty good practice on Saturday night, and he won a couple of reps one-on-one versus James Pierce Jr. And he's also starting to get some first team rotation as well too. So that's one to keep your eye on. Just some food for thought right there.
Yeah, I like that a lot because I thought that Ethan Onianwa had been kicked inside and being used more as a swing guard. So they must be giving him reps at tackle and at guard. So I'm excited to see what the guy can do because that's another big body. I think he goes about 6'7", 330 or so. It's another big handy body to have. Long levers and likes to mix it up. So yeah, for sure. And as you say, that's a good way to segue, Simo, because it's time to address the elephant in the room, James Pierce Jr. Now, I'm going to go around you guys one by one, and you can give me your thoughts on what the situation is going to be. But I feel like no news is good news, personally. I feel like we're looking at maybe a 4 to 6 game ban. If it was anything more severe, I feel like we would have heard of it by now. But with that being said, it's how much can he then contribute to the season? I don't think he's going to equal last season. I'm just going to say that off the bat, but I think he can certainly still contribute. Maybe say he plays in 10 games. I think he can get maybe 5-6 sacks through that 10 games. So I think you're going to get maybe Walker level production from him this year. which again I would be quite happy to see. Obviously, given what has obviously last sort of few months is like. But I'll just obviously go start going right and take it from there. So, Des, how are you feeling about the JPJ situation? Do you think he's going to be a big consideration this season, or do you think it's more just kind of get himself right and look towards next year?
Well, the fact that we can consider him as a benefit. I mean, if you'd have went back to the day after the news came out about what had happened, I was in the position where I didn't think we would ever see him in a Falcons jersey again. It sounded horrific. It sounded as if he had literally lost it and attacked police officers, and again, from that point of view, you then wait till the calm comes, and if it was that bad, they wouldn't have had this agreement where effectively he's a good boy for 6 months and he gets a slap in the wrist. So for us to be in a position where we can consider him this year, that is a benefit. I'm not going to talk about what happened. I'm here to talk about football.
The accusations were always kind of out of our forte. As I say, we're Switzerland unless we're getting beat at football, and that's when we start to get animated.
Well, we said at the time that I remember we had a conversation, and I said I don't really want to talk about the allegations because that's what they are. They're allegations. Let it all settle, and we'll see where we go from there. And it's settled, and it was bad, but he's a young man. Every single person on this panel's made mistakes in their life. So luckily, when I was young enough to make mistakes, I didn't have everybody with a camera and filming everything that I'd done. So I was lucky enough. I'm at an age where that literally everybody wasn't filming you at the time. So when I made mistakes, it was different. So, but we're at a point where we can consider him. If I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm putting him in for the first preseason, and I'm putting him in for every preseason game until the NFL get their hand out their pockets and decide what they're going to do. So the more reps you can get him, and the quicker you can get him up to pace, the better. But if it's 4 games, if it's 6 games, so be it. I think we have to look at James Pearce Jr. long term and what he can do for us the end of this season, hopefully playoffs, and then into next season. So I'm optimistic with it all.
I think that's a good way to look at it. Obviously, you have 45 years. This is only going to be year 2, so we do have time to obviously iron out any cracks, make sure he's feeling the right way, doing the right things again, and then obviously we can turn him loose. And the same question to yourself, Sam. How are you feeling about it all with the James Pearce Jr. situation? Do you think it'll be a short stay in the sin bin, or how are you feeling about it?
Well, given the happenings of the entire situation, I would be surprised if he got more than 2 games. To be honest, at this point, I expect him to play the majority of the season in this situation. For us, I think everything. I think everything that has happened is going to happen. As far as that whole situation is concerned, monies have changed hands. And in all, I think if they were gonna drop the hammer on him, they'd have dropped the hammer. A month ago on the situation. But the things that have come out, involving the worst thing about this situation was, 9 police officers trying to get me on the ground.
Yeah,
that's the worst stuff.
that was not a good look. Not a good look at all.
Everything else in the situation was disproven. You know what I mean? So I mean, if he gets more than if he gets more than 2 games, I'll be absolutely shocked. And I, like I said, I think Arthur Blank, hand of power has been moved in this situation. You know, I kind of reference people a lot. You know, go back to the Jonathan Babineau situation.
Oh, I remember well.
Yeah,
Sir. A few hands were shaken and a few phone calls were made, and I feel like it could be.
Yeah. He was caught dead to right with a few pounds. And he did not no time, paid a little fine, played that season, got that last check, and rolled off into the sunset quietly. See, that's what happened when
we saw. EOGs knew what you were up to. You can't fool all the people all the time. I'm sorry to break it to you. Before we continue with this one, though, guys, there's a comment here I'd really like to shout out. First off, Ms. Maggie, do what the First Lady's telling you to do. Share this out. Let the people you know, let the people you love know that we're going here and talking some good business. And on that note, shout out to Jenny Elizabeth Jr. So thrilled to discover we have international fans who are genuinely passionate about this team of ours. Great conversation, guys. Thanks. Lifetime Falcons fan, new to the Falcons YouTube content scene. Well, don't make it be your last stop. As I say, we're going to be doing a few shows every week now, especially as the season's rolling in, Jenny. So if you want to be involved, we're going to leave the socials at the end. Get in touch. We do have a Ladybirds show over stateside as well, so you can get in touch with Miss Maggie and she'll let you know what. But as I say, we're just thrilled to be able to produce this content and to know how well we're accepted over there in the A. And
well, can I just jump in a second?
Sure, can.
I mean, the reason why we started the show last year was because we were so sick to death going on to X and hearing Atlanta people in Atlanta telling us how much they hated this team. And we literally loved the team that much, and it was literally a pushback against all we're hearing from Atlanta sports fans. Not all of them, but a lot of them were how much they hated Atlanta sports, this and that. And the reason we started this show was to show people that even outside Atlanta, we love this team. I mean, I'm a Braves fan as well. I've got the Braves, the City Connect top in the other room. I love everything about Atlanta. Anybody in Atlanta, you're lucky to have such a beautiful city. I've been there once and I fell in love with the city. And that was one of the reasons why we started the show. It was a fight back against the. There we go.
You've even converted me at this point, because that's how the Locher-Room also came to be. The side hustle. It was Daze going on. You need to start doing some baseball.
There you go.
Deano, I got to say that the City Connect, the new City Connect. I know. Probably you wouldn't like it because it looks like a Man City top, but the new City Connect top is fantastic. Just love it. I'll wear it on the next show.
Is that the light blue one?
Yeah, the light blue one.
That is a nice jersey, man.
But Jenny Elizabeth Jr., that was the whole reason why we started the show. It was a pushback against all the negativity that we've seen coming out of Atlanta from the Atlanta Falcons fans. And we just wanted to show people how much we love this team. I mean, I've been supporting the team since effectively 2008. Wolves, similar. You know what I mean?
Tail end of 06, start of 07. We're kind of OGs at this point. And as I say, the guys to the rest and the rest of the panel, they're no strangers to ball in the A either. So it's a real labour of love. As I say, I was started out maybe 3-4 years ago now doing the content for Atlanta Falcons Nation. And then I just decided, well, you know what? We have a voice too in Britain, in Germany, Mexico, Australia. Just some spoilers may or may not be sprinkled in there. But you can keep watching the show if you want to find out what I mean by that. But yeah, let's get back to it. So we were talking
The one thing I would say was we ain't glory hunters anyway. You know what I mean? You're in the UK and you see a Kansas City Chiefs fan walking down the road, and you know that they haven't supported that team for 20 years. They've only started supporting them when they started winning the Super Bowl. So at least we can say when we finally get to the big day and we finally win it, we can at least say we were here for the good and the bad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen a Chief in a minute to laugh at for being a glory hunter, although I did bump into an Eagle today. Told him he was wearing the just completely wrong bird. But yeah, no. As I say, it's all about spreading love, and it's rare enough that you see an NFL fan in the UK, let alone another Falcons fan. So when we find them, we wanna keep them close and roll with them. So to that end, how are you feeling about the James Pearce Jr. situation, Deano? I mean, I know obviously you missed out on the drama as we were doing it on the show, but now that you're here.
The minute, do you know what? The minute I saw that happen, I just thought in the off season, what is going to happen to the Atlanta Falcons in off season this summer? Because I think we're probably the most cursed team in the league when it comes to shenanigans. Like every single year, there's something wrong, and even when there isn't something wrong, the minute they come back to training camp, someone gets injured. It's just a list and a dossier of pain and sorrow every single year. It's just,
it's their two churches. It's their two churches, mate.
Yeah.
Literally, sacred ground. We need to get a priest in to perform an exorcism in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That's what we need, because I agree, we are definitely cursed as a team. Definitely.
Yeah, we need to have someone come in with like the incense, the power of ice compels you.
Holy water, you know what I mean? Absolutely.
Shout out Auntie Pam, the ladybirds are in the house. As well. And then I think your good lady's also shouting us out as well there, Deano.
Yeah, that's the message right there. Don't hold it against her. She's a 49ers fan, so just pointing that one out. Just
I think
in California.
You're punching, mate. You're definitely punching above your grade, mate. You're punching.
Oh dear.
You can't say anything, you know what I mean? Anything you say is evidence.
Absolutely. So we'll try and keep it PG-13 then if you're being watched. And I feel you on the negativity 100%. I'm so glad that inspired you all to stay. Yeah, absolutely. Here, especially when it comes to the Falcons. You know, we're no fans of those New Orleans Aints, and they hate us too. So we're hated enough by the Aints in the media for everyone. So.
And to be honest, see with Friday coming, I hope Kevin Stefanski goes over and knocks Sean Hayden out. You know what I mean? I hate him. Honestly, I don't hate anything, but I hate Sean Hayden. I can't even call him by his right name because he's Hayden. Hate him. Hate that man.
Just before we close this
look at his face
or this section out, I should say, how are you feeling about the James Pearce Jr. situation? What kind of contributions do you think he'll have? How long do you think he'll miss?
I mean, I think it might be like maybe a 4-game. I think it also could be a no-game suspension. I wouldn't be surprised one way or another, to be honest with you. I do feel as though there's a precedent that is set that they don't like to rule or give you a punishment on something that has not been completely settled legally yet. You look at the Rasheed Rice situation last year, and or they took a whole year to actually deal with that before they actually did something while it was still pending. So I think that just as a part of the collective bargaining agreement, they want to kind of see what happens with some of that, and ultimately his case is still open. So usually they don't wait this late into camp to do that, to do a suspension on it. So, but like I said, at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised just because it wasn't a good look with the video footage with like 4 officers on his back. You know, he looks like a specimen for sure, but it doesn't look good though for the league. So, but it's died down a little bit. So we'll see.
I mean, look at it from the perspective of the police officer. Imagine you turning up and you're looking at James Pierce Jr., whether you know who he is or not, but he's quite an imposing guy. You know what I mean? So
6'4", 260 with 38-inch arms. I may need backup. Just possibly.
Double backup out here.
If this kicks off, I'm going to get absolutely crushed. I'm
a receiver. I'm built to stay away from defensive ends. If I'm meeting a defensive end, something's wrong. I'm completely out of position.
Right. And I think it's going to be a thing like it's almost like they're giving him more rope to hang himself because they, in my humble opinion, again, this is just a theory. I don't think necessarily this is going one way or another. So I'm not going to hit you with a told you so necessarily, but just don't be surprised if they do wait till next year just to see if he can actually make it through this pre-trial. To Jenny's point right there, you saying you think that they're going to wait till after this pre-trial diversion. If he violates on this, that could make his stuff with the NFL go even further and be more of an issue. Because imagine if they just give him no suspension right now, or they give him a suspension right now, and then he violates the probation. Then they have to come back and come with another punishment, which is going to look really weird because guys get in trouble in the NFL a lot. They have to dole out discipline, but these are guys that are using aggression for a living, So there's going to be some. There's never been a year in the NFL where there weren't some off the field problems with some type of player at some point in time. So but that's just a more as well too.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot to think about. There could be a world where he does play the full season. As you say, to just kind of see, will you take the slap on the wrist and how do you then act going forward? So we then know how best to penalise you off the back of that. I can see that notion as well. So that's a great point. And I wanted to get this done, and I feel it's completely appropriate to do it now, given the fact that we have a 49ers fan in the chat. But it's time to play the trade game, ladies and gentlemen, because I did see this on ESPN concerning Jesse Bates and a certain team in San Francisco.
Oh, God, get out of there.
Yeah. A 6th round pick in Jesse Bates for a 2027 third. I'm sure the Niners fans would like that one. I'm not convinced.
Don't know.
But
not sure about that one.
I don't want to say anywhere.
Listen, guys, I'm going to say something. See if we're going to trade Jesse Bates, now's the time to do it. Because I don't think he's coming off his best season last year. Obviously, I think he's currently got a bit of an injury at the moment as well. So I think if we don't trade him now, I think he won't. There won't. It's going to be like a 6th round pick or something. So if we could get a 3rd round pick for Jesse Bates, then it's something to consider. But again, if you look at 2024 Jesse Bates, he was the best safety in the league. Last year, I think he was a bit inconsistent, but the way I look at it is you go with the player you've got, not the player you can get. So, but that being said, if you're going to trade him, you trade him now. But I don't want to trade him. I still think If he's lost 10%, he's still probably one of the best safeties in the league.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't think you can trade.
I don't think you can trade it.
I
How
don't
old is
think
he?
you trade. I mean, he's 29 years old. I mean, and honestly saying like saying he didn't come off his best season. I mean, it may not have been his best season, but it was one of his best seasons because it was an all pro selection last year. So just being real about it, I don't think a 3rd round pick does the justice for you. I mean, there's a chance that you come up with a Billy Bowman or you come up with another Xavier Watts, but there's also a chance that you come up with a Sidney Brown, or you get a D'Angelo Malone. You know, 3rd round picks aren't. I'm going to go with what I got in the hand. I think Jesse Bates could play later in his career. You look at some of the better safeties in the NFL, Rod Woodson. You look at the Charles Woodson. You look at people, Brian Dawkins. There's a lot of safeties that you could play later in the league. And he's becoming more of a guy that they're playing more in the box and allowing him to do a lot more of the heavy hitting now that he's maybe lost a step or two potentially. But just what he brings to the table, as long as he doesn't want too much, I think you keep him and maybe sign him next year. But right now for this year, being a team that just came off of an 8-win season that should have been definitely more than 8 wins, I don't think you could trade him. I saw that article from ESPN suggesting that we trade him to the Niners, and I just thought that was really ridiculous. It was just it makes me feel as though some of the larger media isn't really paying attention to what's happening with this team.
Oh, I couldn't agree more because a lot of them are saying Billy Bowman's your go-to guy, and I'm like, well, you've not been reading the reports because Billy Bowman's not 100% either, so he ain't ready to go, not at full capacity anyway.
So, I mean, but this is I think we could be a serious contender team this year, and I don't think you get rid of a guy like Jesse Bates right now. They'd have to give me a 1st round draft pick, but then again, it's like if I get rid of Bates this season, what am I doing this year? I don't have a guy locked and loaded and ready to take over what he does for you right there right away. Yeah. That's kind of a guy that you're replaced by committee. So
real quick, because I got to go to start my show, but I don't see us trading him because he wants to finish up here. And like I said earlier in the show, him and his camp are saying and campaigning all the right things. It's not about the money, it's about the finish, you know what I'm saying, and finishing, you know what I'm saying, the story here. Which is one. And number 2, I'm openly going to issue a invitation to all of you gentlemen to my platform whenever possible. You know what I'm saying, over at Mr. White Network, a Monday or Wednesday or Friday, you know, to talk Dirty Birds, just to, you know, throw that out there and to say thank you, Will, for having me on. I got to go crank up that Monday. We're going to be doing some talking about your guy over there in Texas.
Yeah, man, just let me get a little breather after this one, and I'll be sure to jump on because I got to switch out the red and blacks for some burnt orange for the next one. But we're going to be doing some SEC talk, so I appreciate you coming on and sharing time with us for the big comeback show, brother. Thank you so much.
Most definitely, I'll definitely be back. It's not going to be the last time. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate it. And you guys, you know what I'm saying, all people that are watching, you know what I'm saying, y'all, you know, continue to support these guys over here, man. They're doing great work. You know what I'm saying? So thank you. And I'm out.
Appreciate Sam again for stopping in there. So we'll go on with this comment that we've got here. So Bates was babysitting 2 rookies last season. Yeah, that's true, and it probably did hinder his performances just a little bit. I can see that point as well. And now that Xavier Watts has obviously excelled to the level that he has, he can be left to his own devices a little bit more going forward.
I think, the other thing to look at as well is when we were sitting with 5 picks and Ian Cunningham was saying that he would never go into another draft with so little picks. If you're not going to, because again, there was a lot of rumours around the early season before the draft that they could trade Jesse Bates Jr. and get maybe a 2nd or a 3rd round for him. So if you're sitting with 5 draft picks and you don't draft them then you're not going to trade them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'd probably agree with you there. I'm apprehensive to trade him for any less than a first. I'd probably agree with Simo, because what we get be potential gets you so far, but we know what we have with Jesse Bates, and that's what's kind of doing it for me, especially if he will. And he seems to be kind of trending towards the fact that he looks like he'll take a team friendly deal.
Yeah,
fingers crossed. So
he would
hopefully
need to.
that's. Yeah, so if all that happens, then I'm perfectly happy with him remaining here for the remainder of his career if he's happy to do that. And I wanted to single out Maggie's comment as well, because she mentioned she thought that JPJ seemed humbled. He'll most likely do right now that he has too much wisdom around him, and also Arthur Blank. Well, as Simo said, it's no Arthur Blank's first rodeo. It's not his first time dealing with something like this. So obviously that experience is going to come in handy, and then obviously leaning on the guys around about him, knowing that guys like Brandon Dorless have got his back and things like that. I think the kid will be good. He'll come back. He'll be good. It's just he needs to use it for the learning curve that it is. That's just kind of how I fall with it. But we've got a couple of bits and bobs to go through before we start closing things down. But Des, you kind of gave us your thoughts on this a little earlier on, so I'll put it to the other guys. I'll start off. I think we're going to see a lot of both guys this season, but I'll agree with you, Des. I think that for week 1, I think the starter is going to be Tua. I feel like there's a lot showing that the knee is a lot further along than what we thought with Penix. Shout out to another one of your frequent flyers, Lieutenant Dan. He put it out in the chat that he basically was thinking along the lines of Penix is already clear, and we are holding him back so that he doesn't re-aggravate, but that's why we're giving him predominant lead on 7-on-7, which I thought was an interesting take. But I feel with that being said, and obviously it being such a big injury as what it was, I think it's going to be Tua. So, and I know you'd said you thought it was Tua as well.
The issue we've got is if we effectively, whatever happens, it's going to put us into a bad position, because if Tua ends the season as our quarterback 1, then Tua is going to look for he's going to want his 50 million again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, but again, for me, I've always been a fan of Penix, but I'm at a point where I'm just going to step back now and see how it unfolds. I mean, I seen a picture today of Penix hurdling, effectively jumping from side to side. So I personally think, yeah, they're going slow with him, but I also think they already know in their mind that Tua is going to start. And I think this just makes it a wee bit of an easier choice to let Penix know that he's not going to start the season because he's obviously been behind in the schedule. So it just effectively makes it a wee bit easier to go with Tua. But I would say that I think with Kevin Stefanski, if Tua isn't the right man for the job, then I don't think he'll be slow in putting Penix in. Long term, the benefit and the best thing for us is if Penix can show what we believe that he can do, because he's still got a couple of years of a rookie contract that's team friendly for us. If Tua goes off in one and gets back to potentially where he has been in 2022, 2023, then we're in a position where effectively where Minnesota Vikings were. We're in a position where do we pay Sam Darnold or do we go with the rookie? And we'll then at the end of this season, we're at a point where we're having to look at possibly giving him to a long-term massive 50 million a year contract.
Yeah, and it's especially concerning when you think about how much we've just spent on the extensions that we spoke about earlier on in the show as well. And we've got some comments as well here from Trenton. He's saying he doesn't think Tua being accurate underneath is more to look forward to than Mike pushing the ball, making throws. Yeah, but he was forced to make throws that he in some cases wasn't. I feel like that wasn't always his fault. It was a fault of the play calling. I feel like Van Pelt's going to shore up a lot of those issues. Just given the guys that he's worked with, the likes of Aaron Rodgers and things like that, I feel like he can get it back on side. But yeah, Tua's not the best QB from underneath. I agree with you. And from what I can see, he also feels like it's another Mike versus Cousin situation, but more accuracy, but not moving the ball at the same rate. No, I see what you're saying, and it all goes back to that old narrative of if you have two QBs, you have none. But again, on a 1-year deal for $1.3 million, you can't really go wrong. Yeah, you can't really go wrong. Let Miami take the shortfall for that and let them play for us for a year. I'm quite happy. But on to you, Deano. Who do you think is going to be starting come week 1? Because there's a lot of things could happen between then and now.
I think at one point.
Real quick, gentlemen. I'm sorry, I got to get going. I got to get to a doctor's appointment. I lost a little bit of track of time. But,
listen, stop for. Thank you for stopping in with us, getting your debut out of the way, and don't wait too long for the next one. Yeah.
No, absolutely, man. You hit me anytime you want me to be on, man. It was an absolute pleasure, man. The pleasure is all mine for being on. Thank you so much, man, and I look forward to it, man. I'll tap in and make sure that we do this again soon, man.
Anytime, brother.
Thanks,
yes, sir, bro.
And then there were 3, and as I say, this is what we were pushing for. Was the first show as a trio. So, as you were, sir, we were talking a little bit about who you thought the starter would be.
I mean, at one point it was basically flipping a coin, but I think at this point in time now, I think it's probably got to be Penix for me. No, not Penix. Tua, sorry. I just think, if you still, I mean, they're both just well, they're both just injury prone, but I'd have to just go with Tua maybe for the first few games to see how it goes, and then warm up by bringing Penix. And I think, either way you look at it, next season is they're going to be saying in the draft that we're going to be looking for a quarterback anyway. The QB room is not looking as solid as what it should be, but luckily our division is not exactly full of glam. It's very much open, so I think we've got a bit of a chance, in regards to what we've got. So I'm optimistic with it. With Tua, I'll see how he goes. Yeah, I've got to be optimistic this time around with this season. It's just there's only so much you can say with how things have been, but yeah, I'm with you guys as well when it comes to who I think should start. I think it should be Tua.
Do you know what? I think it's maybe a match made in heaven that you've joined us, because I think we're at the stage where you need to reach, where this season needs to be kind of just prepare for the worst and hope for the best. I don't quite know where we're going to be come the end of this season, to be quite honest, and I feel like that's almost a fun way to be, because we know that there's no pressure on this coaching staff. The only real pressure is the guys that are on 1-year deals, because I feel like a lot of them weren't signed because we lacked money. It was because we wanted to see what they could do, because they were to some, in some way, shape or form, they were an unknown commodity, or they had been hurt or hadn't shown what they wanted to show. So I feel like that's where the pressure lies, but I'm putting no pressure whatsoever on these coaches either. And I think that obviously by doing that, it's going to take some, we're not under a pressure to perform, and I think we're going to get a couple of wins that way, because we're going to be written off. We're used to being written off, and I think that it's going to come back to bite some teams this season, I think. And I think we have a
looking at one of the videos I've seen, I think a couple of guys had us going 1-7 for the first 8 games. And again, this is the benefit of the off season. This could be one of the best seasons we have, or it could be one of the worst. We just don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? what I think the other thing that people have forgotten in the last few months since we signed Tua is his injury history as well. You know what I mean? He's literally only one concussion away from a possible end of his career. So we could be sitting here at the end of the season, and we could have Tua could have had an injury. Michael Penix could come in and he could have an injury. You just don't know. The things that you don't think about tend to be the things that happen. So, as I said earlier, I'm horizontal on how this season's going to go. As long as we beat the Aints, then whatever happens, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you completely, Trent. And I feel like let the cards fall where they may. I'm not afraid to be wrong. I've been wrong many times, and I'll probably be wrong 1,000 more this season. But if Mike is able to start the season and we make a postseason, great. As Dino says, I don't think there's enough in the South to stop us making a postseason berth, regardless of who that starter is. I just get a little bit concerned because we've sank so much money into these signings. Are we going to have 50 million to put into a QB? Because I don't want to have a great season out of Tua and then we go, fantastic, but we can't pay you, so we're going to have to go and draft an Archman or someone to come in, and I don't want that to be the.
And then that's us back
scenario.
to the start again. You know what I mean? That's us back to the start.
Yeah, I don't want to hit the reset button again. Yeah.
And again, you could probably say that the fact that
I love that we're kind of not just a sports, but also a culture show there, guys.
I was going to say that
I'm just saying, sorry, Des, I jumped in here.
Yeah, I think you're buffering a wee bit. Well, I think you're delaying a wee bit, mate. I think what I was going to say is that I think the fact that they're being so careful with Penix maybe tells you that they do want Penix to be the future.
Yeah.
If they thought they were up to speed with everything, they would just throw Penix in there. But I would say that Ian Cunningham will be in a position where he is saying to Matt Ryan and Arthur Blank, if we continue to stick with Tua and we don't develop Penix, we're going to come to a point where at the end of the season, I'm getting asked for a 55 million 4-year, 55 per year contract for the next 4 years. So it's in his best interest. It's in everybody's best interest, to be honest, that Tua gets a good look and plays well. And then we filter into Michael Penix Jr. Other teams around the league have seen enough from Tua that they're prepared to take a chance on him and pay him a decent contract. And we then have Penix for another couple of years on a rookie contract. That's the benefit. But we need Penix to be the man. That's all. I really
hope so. I do not want another 3, 4, 5 seasons in QB purgatory. I really don't. And I love this comment here. I love that we provide not just a sports show, but also a culture show. Maggie's just shouting out our accents. And we're going to continue to mix it up because we've got a few different accents, hopefully coming into the mix, not in the not too distant future as well.
I don't hear any accents. This is normal. You know what I mean?
we come from a small country that has about 30 different accents, though. Like, it's strange. It almost feels strange to describe to an American, but if you travel for 3 hours, the accent doesn't change that much. In the greater Glasgow area, if you travel for 45 minutes, the accent changes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's the same down south. It's certainly in parts of it as well.
Yeah, you start hearing about a guy called Ken. Yeah, Ken. And
I've still not met this guy. I hear he's a nice guy. I've never met him.
And when you hear people saying a Ken, that's them literally saying I know a Ken. So, and we think they talk strange, and we'll say who's this Ken you're talking about all the time, and then that just sets them off in a rant. So
Like I feel like I've warned you guys before. Like if you think that if you ever have any difficulty picking up Daze and I, and we're enunciating and slowing down a little bit for you, and not adding quite so much slang, I should ask my missus to come on one time because she comes back. She's been in Glasgow a long time, but she's originally from Fraserburgh, so I should ask her to come on and speak some Doric and see if you understand a word of it. And I defy most Americans to.
Well, we're literally the Queen's English of the Scottish people. I mean,
yes, this is as polite as we get.
Yeah, we don't talk like this in day to day. We'll talk a lot quicker. If me and Will were actually talking to each other just now, you guys wouldn't understand it. So we slow our speech down a bit when we're on
they may understand one word that it would start with an F and have 4 letters, and there would be a lot of them.
Yeah.
But apart from that, but I mean, I wanted to bring back this little segment now that it's just the 3 of us, because I like to do this as a little bit of fun just to kind of close out the shows, and we call it Assorted ATL. So this is just not necessarily Falcons news. It could be Braves, Hawks, whatever we feel like at the time that's standing out to us. But I've got a couple of bits tonight. So first off, the rookie ratings have been revealed for all you gamers. So I'll read it top to bottom for you. So James Brockermeyer and Harold Perkins Jr. at 64. HPG at 64 is criminal for me, but there you have it. Ethan Onianwa and Terrio Thompson, 67. Kendall Daniels, 69, which is nice. Zachariah Branch, 73. And then Avion Terrell at a 75. Now, with that all being said, I feel like they're still not being very fair to your Falcons. Like, some of these guys are higher than, like, 64, 67. It's like, come on. I know they're rookies, but surely. But
I think when it comes to Madden, all rookies are like kind of lower numbers anyway. They're low ratings. It tend to be anyway.
They say that, but I feel like I recall years where there was like rookies at like 72s, 74s, and up that were like 4th rounders. Like, I don't know if the draft classes are getting weaker, if they've changed the way they do, like they do the rating systems and all that, because I know they took a few stats out back in, I think, 14 or something like that. But yeah, it's just one more way we can be.
They only gave Bijan Robinson a 92. So that tells you all you need to know about the Madden ratings.
Well, yeah, absolutely. The best running back
Madden anymore.
Madden, I think he's still 4th. Yeah, I might want to have a word with whoever codes your games.
Well, I play college ball.
Yeah, man. College football is a much better game, although that's one that we can get into at another point. I did a show about the whole pay versus play, because I know they've installed a lot of paywalls for some of the premium features and coaching and things like that. So I know that college football is not very popular right now with some parties, but the gameplay has been amazing since they came back. I'll give them that. And then I wanted to obviously take the chance as well. We did do a little bit of Braves glazing earlier on in the show, but I just wanted to take a chance to flash this up and remind you all, stay brave, folks. We're going to be fine. 71-47. We remain a strong possibility of going to the World Series. And I'm not going to be stupid enough to say we're going to win it, but I think we can certainly be in the mix.
And that was
I mean, for a first season of Braves, I've got you to thank.
And that was us having one of our worst Junes in history, mate. We literally got to a point where at one point I think we were like 13 and a half games ahead of everybody in the standings, and we then got to a point where it was like 3.5 behind the Phillies, and then July hit again. And bearing in mind, we've done all this with Ronald Acuna Jr. being injured, and a lot of injuries as well. So one thing I'll say about the Braves is, like, literally the players you don't expect to do it are doing it. I mean, Jim Jarvis came in, player never heard it, and he's doing fantastic. Just a young player. So, I mean, there's a lot of positives. I said to you at the start of the season that I honestly believed that this was going to be a World Series. But when it comes to baseball was just a weird game. You can lose to anybody. You quite literally can lose to anybody, mate. So, we're doing well. So, I mean,
as you say, they didn't have the greatest of Junes, but what an August it's been. Was that 7-8 wins back to back now? So,
do you want to flash the league up again? I'll show you the best part of it.
Sure will. There we go.
Right, so you don't see the best part, so you can see the Mets at the bottom. So if you're not into baseball, the New York Mets are effectively the Aints for us.
They're the only, like the Aints, they're the only other team you get out with calling a derogatory name. They're not the Mets, they're the mess.
Yeah. And they're a mess at the moment. So
they've been proving that.
It's wonderful to see, mate. It's wonderful to see.
Absolutely, and I have you to thank for kind of turning me on to the baseball again. So I've been having fun with it this season. So hopefully we can get into the locker room together soon and do some baseball specific talk, because it's been a fun bit to tag on the tail end of some of these shows. But let's this season get into some baseball and some good stuff as well.
I mean, what I would say about American sports is, if you're talking in the UK and you talk about American sports, they think you're a pervert, because I'm going to say a derogatory word in the UK that would get us banned. But in baseball, it's actually a word, and it is the word shagging. Literally, that is effectively a word for a couple having intercourse in the UK. But in baseball, it's a practice of catching or retrieving fly balls and batted balls in the outfield during batting practice. So I remember a few years ago, I'm sitting watching a Braves game and I heard the guy saying it. And I was like, what did he just say? Then you go to American football, you go to the NFL and you get tight ends, wide receivers. It just sounds like I mean, if you're literally talking to somebody in the UK, they're thinking that you're a pervert. This guy, he's talking about wide receivers and tight ends and shagging. And we're literally talking about sports.
Well, if I tell you what, Des, see if we go to the Benz and I nip out at half time for a cigarette. Just don't tell the Americans what we call a cigarette either.
Yeah, don't do that.
Please don't do that.
Yes,
I've got a reputation to uphold.
Yes.
No, but with all that being said, it's been a lot of fun getting back on tonight. And I want to remind you guys, just before we get into the final little Q&A section, that the time is slowly ticking away. We have just 4 days to go now until the big game against the Broncos. They are coming into Atlanta Friday night. So I can officially unveil that I will likely be putting together a little watch party for that. So gentlemen, if you're game, by all means join me. And I'll take any opportunity to flash these photos up, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's only 34 days until the regular season. So it's time to get back to work.
God, you need to put on some muscle, mate. Honestly, you need to stick around me. You know what I mean? I'll put some weight on you.
I was a wide receiver, not a tight end. But with that being said, we digress. If you want to talk about Scottish diets, that's a whole nother show, and again, one where we could probably hold our own. But you don't come here to hear us talk about scran, as we would call it.
Yeah.
So what we will do then is we'll throw it open to you guys who've been here with us the last 2 hours. So thank you so much, first off, for all the comments that you've had so far, all the questions, all the lovely take. If you do have any more, though, please shout them out. But if not, I'm going to let the guys go around and let the guys know where they can find them. So Des, if the guys want to continue the conversation after the show, whereabouts can they find you?
Yeah, so the main place to get me is on X, so it's Scottish Falcon. So if you look out for Scottish Falcon, I think I've got 130 or 140 subs or followers to get to the 1,000. So if you could go on, share my profile, try and get people in Atlanta that aren't following me to follow me, that would be fantastic. As I say, Scottish Falcon, it's all love for the Atlanta Falcons, and always a wee bit about the Braves as well.
Hell yeah. And as I say, you get a lot of your Scottish culture as well from following your boys. And we need to get Des over that 1,000 follower threshold.
Absolutely.
So as I say, go hit your boy up on X and keep the good times rolling. Now, Deano, I know you have a few projects coming up, so let the people know where they can find you and let them know what you've got.
So my YouTube channel is right there in my email, which is Deano Away Days. That is my YouTube channel. I do also have a TikTok as well, which is Away Days Sports, spelled the same way. And I mainly do football. I do football, normal football, and NFL. Most of my things has been mainly football because of the World Cup. So it has been quite busy involved the World Cup just now. But with the new seasons now coming up in football and in the NFL, it's going to be a mix of everything. So you'll mainly find me there. I will be doing my predictions for the divisions in the NFL as well as in the Premiership as well, Premier League, sorry. So if you guys want to give me your intakes and your videos of what you think, then get at me.
Awesome. I would be looking forward to that coming out. And as I say, if you want to do flip that and do that NFL-wise, we can take a breakdown of the division sometime soon as well. If that's something you guys would like to see, just drop it down in the comments. And as I say, if you want to leave us some love, you can drop some red and black down there. We love to see that as well. Just before we do close off, as it is the first official show of season 2, we just want to remind you that the recruitment drive never stops here. And here at AFN and AFNI, we are the voice of all the fans, stateside, worldwide, and Clydeside. So as such, with so much dirty birdie work to do, we want you. So if you want to be part of our team, then you know what to do. Get in touch with one of the 3 guys on the panel, or hit up Miss Maggie if you're stateside inclined, and come earn your coat. But as I say, guys, it's been a pleasure and a privilege getting back with you. I know it's been a longer hiatus than what we intended, but as I say, it's nice to get the show trio finally together for the first time and get a good one out to kick off into the season. So as I say, I'll hopefully see you guys on Friday night for the game.
Yeah.
If not, we can get together over the weekend for some wicked ends of some sort. But as I say, keep an eye on the socials, everybody, because we will be keeping you informed as to when the next show will be. And as I say, if you want to get at us on the socials, you know where to find us now. Thank you all. Thank you, Jenny, for tuning in for the first time. We were happy to have you. Hopefully it won't be the last. So for everyone around the world, whatever time we may be catching you, morning, afternoon or evening, we will leave you with our usual closing thoughts. So just remember that no matter how hard times get, Deano, Des and I, we love our ATL. And before we wish you good night, Dirty Birds, remember once and always that pain might be international, but so is passion. Until next time, guys. Peace.
Take it easy, everybody. Take it easy.
Thanks, Deano.
Yeah.